In today's nightly vid, we're going to talk about the statistical analysis that occurred intraday that gave us the hint that things were going to get worse. So the first thing is understanding the analysis. SPY started as a 2-up day, so it was 2 down, 2 up. When the news had came out with the Fed, it went from green to red at 603.98, which tells us anyone long today goes into a losing position. Because if you bought at any point between 8:30 and when the news came out, that occurred above the open, 603.98. So when we trade below it, all those guys are put into a losing trade, which causes them to hit the bid with aggressive sellers hitting the bid because we're rejecting yesterday's highs. What that then causes is an outside bar, which shows aggression when we take out 602.89. And then that breaks the previous week's lows at 602.13, causing a 2 on the week. You will then see we negated the month from green to red, causing a period of full time frame continuity to the downside, where every known participant was hitting the bid. And when that occurred, we had a weekly magnitude from last week's 2-2 reversal to take 595.2 out, and it went a lot further because it can still go potentially outside month, as we still have a lot of month left. We are getting towards the end of the week, so we're going to be aware of that. Now, if we just go to the other indexes, does it confirm what occurred here on SPY? Well, Qs closed as inside day yesterday and had a 2-1-2 reversal below 534.13, right? And you'll see that re-breaks here when the news comes out, putting it in force. That then takes the lows of the mother bar out. So anyone that bought in here on Monday to start the week gets an inside bar to the face. They all turn into losing traders. And that's because the week goes green to red below 533, negating the weekly continuity, giving us potential to go 3 week, which it does, taking 519.16 out. If we go to the Dow Jones opened as 2 down on the week. What you're going to see on the day is it does the same thing as the SPY. It starts green, goes green to red for the potential 3. Then it becomes 3 and stays 3. That's a problem because the month at this point was already down. The week was already 2 down. So the most 2s and 2s going 3 from the 30 up to the month and week, we're down. So it's going down for sure. And you still have 416.44 to take out. So they still have ways to go. And you'll notice if you've been following us, the 2-2 week in here on Dow Jones, 446.55. We talked about that. And the fact that it confirmed the IBM, which had already reversed 2-2 week here below 239.29. And you'll see IBM still just shy of taking the month down, but notice the same thing today, except it was too weak to take out yesterday's highs. So this was the weakest stock in there. Big old puker. Drops about $10 intraday. Now, the next thing is, how do we know, when that first candle occurs, how do we know it's not coming back? Because people will be trading the strat, and you may see a candle like this. It's like, how do you know it's not going to start coming back and reversing on you? Well, that is where the statistical analysis comes in. So I'm going to use Thinkorswim because it will give me access to more market data, but you can also do this on the Strat Alerts site. So what we're going to see is if we go into the indexes, I'm going to show you when we posted this on Twitter, but if you go into the indexes, we can look on the day, and what we scan for is this. How many bars are taking out yesterday's lows? 2 to the downside or 3 to the downside? Because that tells you how many downtrends we have today. So in the S&P 500, 462 of the 500 names went down today. What does that tell you? They pretty much indiscriminately sold the whole market besides about 30 stocks, which are the strongest stocks as far as we understand. So we're also kind of separating the wheat from the chaff in that sense. If we then go to the Russell, you're going to see the Russell 2000. Of the 2,000 stocks, 1,500 of those are taking yesterday's lows. That's a lot of downtrends. If we go to the NASDAQ 100, the Qs, 96% of the Qs took yesterday's lows. When that starts occurring after the Fed, you have no reason to believe that's coming back. Zero. We had people saying we're gonna try and get a bounce. No, we do not want to bounce when every single stock, for the most part, is taking yesterday's lows. That is the definition of what a sell looks like. It has to be. The next thing is you're going to see, if we go to the Dow Jones, it's only 30 stocks. 25 of 30 Dow Jones stocks take yesterday's lows. That's a lot of downtrends. So now, after a day like today, a lot of people are kind of shell-shocked. They're like, what should I do? Well, the first thing is what we're going to do is we can scan and say, well, who didn't go down, right? And that's where we can show you this. So we can go on stocks and we can look at all optionable stocks is what I normally look at. But we can scan and say, well, I want things that are inside day. So anything that is a higher or a high less than the previous high, and a low that's greater than the previous low. This will give me anything inside day. And I'm not sure how many we'll have, but it looks like we have a few in here. So I normally stick to the more liquid stocks of the bunch up at the top of the list. So we can take a look, and this is how we're going to build out our nightly watch list tonight. I'm going to show you how we do that here. So the first thing is we can go here and we can say we got who's inside day. We got T-Mobile, SO, and then a few healthcare names, Humana, COR, ARGX. So if we go to T-Mobile, you're going to see T-Mobile inside day. Now our question is this closer to confirming or negating what occurred in the market today? Well, in this case, it would be an inside day with a shooter for momentum continuation to the downside. What this would do is confirm the 2-2 reversal month to the downside. And this has been a pretty high flyer this year, so we'll be aware of that. But we could say if that works on a monthly basis here, the magnitude would negate the quarter and set up into next year a 2-2 reversal quarter. So this, we'd prefer it down, but if it goes inside and up, it would also be relatively strong. If we go to SO in the utilities, again, 3-1, what's it closer to doing? Going inside and down. So these are closer to confirming for the most part so far. We go to Humana. Humana, there's 2 down, 1, and we would have a preference. We'd prefer this inside month down to be reconfirmed by the inside day and down, especially because we're nice and red on the week, but we'd be willing to play that either way. If we go to COR, you see it's closer to going inside day down and reconfirming this reversal on the monthly here below this, 230.16. And then the last one here, ARGX, never heard of it. You see inside day, at this point, it's closer to becoming inside day down, which would confirm. So you can see most of the inside bar signals, at least the bigger names in here, closer to confirming to the downside with what the market did today. We go to any of the other ones like APA and the energies. It's also closer to confirming. There's like XPEV, which is a small name in there, also closer to confirming. So for the most part, the bigger guys, closer to confirming the downtrend, which tells us potentially we continue tomorrow. We got more things continuing for potential continuations. The next thing we can do is we can also scan and say, well, who didn't go down today? And say who is up on the day. So we can do a close over the open and a high greater than the previous and a low greater than the previous low. So it's going to give us uptrends on the day. So we're going to see while the market was puking, we actually saw this in the Discord, but while the market was puking, UNH was going up. So they just didn't care there. We'll see, does that follow through or not? But we can say relative strength is UNH. We go to Coke. Coca-Cola also didn't, puke today, but it's going to be a shooter day. So what would that do? Well, we're still an inside week in a month. Potentially they take some of these guys out, but it's going to be closer to confirming what the market did. If you go to PDD also didn't really puke today. You're going to see shooter on the day. It's closer to confirming what the market did. We'd cause the day into the weekly signal, and that could reconfirm the monthly signal below this. So that would be a little bit of a problem. And we'd add that to the shooter list. If you go to CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So you can see it's not really doing too much. It was up on the day. It's going to be a little bit closer to a downside move, but closer just going inside, at least at the beginning of the day tomorrow. And the week isn't doing much. The month is not doing much. So it could start puking below this. It's not that interesting to me. If you go to ELV, another healthcare name, you'll see a 2-up day, but it's a shooter. So although they bought it today, it's closer to reconfirming the market to the downside. So you can see a lot of these things just not setting up to the upside. If we go to other healthcare, CI, it's a little bit better, right? Doji on the week. So the week's green at this point, and the day 2 up. So it's closer to coming back up. We'll see what comes of that. It's also moving with UNH. We had MCK in the healthcare sector. So I'm already seeing a trend. A lot of healthcares were still up on the day at the close. MCK, similarly, inside month, 2 down on the week, 2 up on the day. It's kind of doji, so not that interesting, but we can say relative strength in healthcares. CVS, also closer to the shooter 2-2 reversal back down. And if we blow it up here on the quarter, you can see the rev strat and that stuff. If we go to the year, they're coming back to the previous range still, so they still got issues. And you'll notice the week is still bright red. if we go to Tiva, this was on the gap list, closed up on the day. It's also a strat attack name for us. So this is still something we're interested in continuing. And so in the gapper universe here. MOH in the healthcares. Didn't go down today. Also not really close to setting up a signal to the upside. So what we can say is, for the most part, the healthcare sector held up a little bit better than the rest of the guys. There's going to be, the high flyers and whatnot like soon and things of the sorts, which closed green on the day, did give back some gains. In the smaller sector side of things, we go to like the quantum computers, closed green on the day, a little bit closer to a shooter, QBTS. If we go to RGTI, you see a bit of a shooter on the day in there as well. And then QUBT, this one closed much stronger, and this was one we identified when the news came out. They did stop them out down in here, but they did recover, so this one's still the winner in the quantum computer space. And you can see the 2-2 reversal 30s in here, jams the highs at the close with the Hammer 15. So we're going to keep an eye on that for sure. We already got it on the list. And then IONQ, you're going to see on the day, not so fortunate, 3 to the downside. So for the most part, that's what we're seeing as far as strength is concerned. And then a lot of people, they're like, okay, which one should we short and what should we be going after? Well, the ideal thing to be short is things that are signals in force. So like if we go to some of our lists here, ALGN, for example. So it's a rev strat week we saw beginning of the week, 2 down to start the week. And they pivot machine gun all those guys. I believe that's part of the healthcares. Forgive me if I'm incorrect there. If we go to FSLR, this is also something inside down on the week, pivot machine gun, which you can see goes out on the lows. Some of this stuff still has targets to go after. Hurl, which didn't do too much today for us. And then we can go to the weekly signal list. And we're going to see a lot of these guys did blow them out for the most part. So you're going to see things like Square, inside week and down, still full time frame continuity to the downside. If we go to TOST, it's momentum to the downside, still an inside month, so not as interesting. AEO, you see still a 3-1-2 weaker to the downside. CPNG, still an inside week and down, and a 3-2 month down. Go to the bigger names in here, CRM. You see the 3-1-2 week down, still has magnitude to go. ACN, you see the 3-1-2 week down with some slight magnitude to go after. If we go to McDonald's, you see the 3-1-2 down on the week. This was triggered by the shooter 2-2 day, I believe on a Tuesday, and reconfirmed. AT&T, you see a 3-1-2 week down, and you're going to see a trend, right? A lot of these things look similar. We got a UPS. This is the one we mentioned off the weekly break. Inside week measured move, and it's also confirming inside month. So that's something we've got on the radar. Actually, it looks like I removed it from the list on accident during the day, but UPS. We do have FedEx ER this week, which is something we're aware of. You see things like ADI, inside week and down, still with room to go, and 3-3 on the day. If they're going to get worse, 3-2. MAR, see inside day, triggers inside week and down with full time frame continuity, reclaiming some of these guys. Coin, you see 2-2 day yesterday, and then continuation today, inside week and down. You see that nice little 15er in there. Team, it's a bigger name. You see inside week and downer. You'll notice a lot of this stuff had reversed yesterday, 2 up, 2 down on the day, pivot machine gun, and they finished her off. And you can keep going through the list. There's a lot, right? TTD, you see inside week and downer. Not as red on the month, but still doing it. Datadog, a little bit, not quite as bad. Setting up for next month, though. And then the next thing I want to show you is if you go to Home Builders. This is from our macro video. Oh, they got wrecked today, did they not? So you're going to see PHM. They're getting wrecked in here. So notice on the monthly over here at bottom left. 3-1-2 month below that. 124 trade 111. XHB. The 2-2 month. Did we post that on Twitter right when it broke? We did. 113.69, trades 107 at the close. Look at this. That's quite the day, isn't it? If you go to DHI, inside month and downer in the home builders. You're going to see that shooter week in here. All of them did that to break it. If we go to a quarterly, see closer to a 2-down quarter if they're going to break that. TOL. You see the 2-2 monther in the home builders, brings them in. Potential 3-3 quarter, still has some range to go. If we go to KBH, you're going to see the inside month and down, right? And potentially 2-2 quarter. So a lot of the home builders getting wrecked. We're also going to see just by sector, we can mention materials. They took last month's lows, 3-3 quarter. They're having a problem. If we go to real estates, you're going to see 3-2 month reversal. That's really aggressive. They're having a big problem. And if you go in here on the day, ouch, Momo shoot to the downside. If we go to the energies, XLE, that's a 2-2 month. Did we talk about that? We did. With all the inside days during this week, down they go. You can go and watch our nightly vids. If you want to see how we got in on that, go watch the 12-3 nightly vid and watch the 12-5 nightly vid. The XOP, 3-2 month reversal. Notice the inside we confirmed that. And OIH, 2-2 month reversal. And you'll see the same weekly stuff in here. And you'll see the same daily. Some inside bars and then inside bar here and then down they go. And that's going to tell you things like CVX. See the 2-2 monther getting wrecked. Got an XOM. Not a 2-2 this month, but last month. You see getting wrecked. They complete their bigger broadening formation of these guys. In here. You got big quarterly range if they do keep it puking. If we go to financials. You see financials, blood red, although not taking last month's lows, but they got wrecked today with the Fed. Whatever they said in the Fed, did not like it in the financials. You'll see the inside 60 here marks the high. If we go in there, JP Morgan. You'll recall 3-2-2 week, something we had some observations on a couple weeks ago. Down they go. Bank of America, you'll see the 2-2-2 week. Same thing, down they go. Citigroup. This is one we actually mentioned today, was just breaking the week to confirm financials, and you see it, down they go. Morgan Stanley. Actually a 3-1-2, and you can see down they go. Still inside month, but a lot of the financials getting hit. If you go to regional banks, that's where they might have some much bigger problems that we got to talk about. Below 5739, you're going to want to know about the regionals. They have some problemos. And setting up into next year would be the 2-2 year for a financial crisis. If we're going to have one, you'll have this on the quarter. That's definitely something you want to know about if it were to close anything like this. We can take the quarters lows out next year. Oh my gosh, that's the short of the century right there. We'd love to do that because, banks are in a precarious spot regardless, but a lot of cool stuff. So as we end off the video here, what I'd like to say is, is the world ending? Is it not? We'll see. We're still not 2 down on the month on the SPY, nor any of the other indexes, but it doesn't look good, right? We don't look anywhere near recovering that stuff. And that being said, how do we know, are things going to be bad? Well, the key is the quarterly in here, right? If we start the new year by going 2 up, 2 down on the quarter. So for example, it looks like this into 2025. That's a problem, right? Anytime we're below this quarter's lows, next quarter. That's something we want to know. And if we go to Qs, same thing, right? It's just not as close. Tech is still, again, resilient. It's holding up a bit better. The Dow Jones, that looks like a problem, right? It could even go outside quarter, depending on how much of a crash they have or do not have for us. In IBM, you're going to see this. Slight triangle out to all-time highs. You can see by pennies, they take it out, and then the quarter, right? So this is a big, big problem in IBM. And this is what we're going to want to watch and know about into the macro. I will not have the macro vid coming out right into the new year. So just so you guys know, I'm on a trip. I'll be coming back on the 3rd of next month. And this is probably one of the second to last videos I'll put out as far as market analysis goes. So what I would suggest is once all the years close out, you can use the strat scanner. You can use thinkorswim. I'm not sure if FinViz allows you to scan for strat setups, TrendSpider, any of those guys. Do some scans. Just scan for what we know, right? Scan for shooter quarters. Scan for yearly rev strats, inside bars, inside quarters. Go after that type of stuff and see what's setting up. And if you have any cool charts, just share it to me on Twitter, Alex's Options, and I'd love to see them. That being said, though, that's all I've got for you guys in the vid tonight. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys had a good trading day. And I'll see you guys in the next vid we put out. Hopefully it's a macro. If not, maybe it's tomorrow night's nightly vid. But adios and have a great rest of your day.